I'm Corbett Wall with DVAuction, here with your feeder flash for Tuesday, December the 12th, brought to you in part by Bovolus Vision. Bovolus Vision vaccines give strong protection against clostridial disease. Each is powered by the proprietary spur adjuvant that boosts vaccine performance with fewer reactions and less stress. Plus, every time you buy a bottle of Bovolus Vision, it enters you into a monthly drawing to win a fancy Greeley Hatworks cowboy hat. For more information, go to powered-by-spur.com. Also, Beaver County Stockyards, big sale here today for the regular Tuesday auction, expecting 6,000 head. That's a regional type sale there, but that's a big run for a lot of sales. Be a big run for a Southern Plains sale there in the Oklahoma Panhandle. Gonna have 3,500 or more calves, mostly weaned, almost all of them having had all their shots. Be a lot of long strings of really top quality calves. A lot of those will be ready to turn right out on the wheat if that's what you're looking to do. But really nice calves coming in here today at Beaver County Stockyards. Gonna have more than 2,000 head of yearlings. Be probably 1,200 8 and 9 weight yearling steers, most of those sold in load lots. So if you're interested in some good green yearlings, and they also going to have some lighter weight grazing type yearlings, which you don't find very often this time of year. But they're going to have a regular run of cows, but they do have one consignment of cows in the cow run. Be 80 middle-aged cows, be heavy bred guys. So if you're interested in some of those, I gave you a rundown about the bred cow and heifer sale that we had on Saturday there at Beaver County Stockyards. I neglected to tell you that we had some young first calf heifer pairs that brought $3,600 per pair there on Saturday at Beaver County Stockyards. This will be the last sale at Beaver County Stockyards before Christmas. The next sale after that will be January the 2nd. And on January the 2nd, I'm going to be on hand for that. They've got a young fella there, local in Beaver, by the name of Baker McDonald. He has come down with leukemia. The family needs some help, and the stockyards there at Beaver County, that they're the pillar of the community, and they are going to have a fundraiser on January the 2nd, scrape some money together to help that family out. So if you're interested in helping with that, be there at Beaver County Stockyards on January the 2nd, or you can also bid there online. Firm footing on eggshells. So boy, the board has really showed some strength here, both on Friday and then on Monday. It was more surprising on Monday that it didn't go haywire again than it did on Friday when it was up so much. Up $4 and $5 there on Friday. A lot of people didn't pay that much attention to it because it had been so volatile all week. But then to come back from the weekend, have a nice Monday with some sizable gains, and it really showed a lot of strength. The board opened lower, kind of hung lower and quite a bit lower there for a while, and then just slowly started gaining ground, and then by the end of the session had posted some pretty impressive gains there. So a lot of people are thinking that maybe we've surpassed this big correction that we had coming, which we knew we had coming, which it was really more than a correction. It took back a whole lot of what we gained there over the last several months. But we do have some paid for professional analysts that are thinking that this is over. They think that you can kind of get recharged again, and we'll gain some more ground here leading up to the holidays and after the holidays. I didn't expect it to come this quick, but I do think that January is going to be pretty positive. Early January, when we come back from the big 2-week break, it's always pretty good. Your order buyers are wanting commission. Your buyers, your orders are wanting some cattle. They haven't had any fresh cattle for a couple of weeks. Everybody's kind of got rejuvenized over the holidays, and I think we might see a pretty good resurgence here. Of course, the packers aren't going to want to give up any more money for fat cattle, but I tell you what, they're going to have to start slaughtering some cattle here. They have kept these change speeds too slow for too long. I did hear on Monday at least one major packer has begun scheduling Saturday kill again. That is significant. We need that. That makes a big difference, and if we get several more doing that, that'll make a big difference. And like I said here in a recent visit, we didn't really, and we should have, it was right in our face, we didn't realize how much that them trailing down on the slaughter schedule, cutting back on harvest, didn't realize how big of a difference that was going to make. It made a big difference, especially on our carcass weights. And then whenever your outside interests see that bearish news about the carcass weights and how big they were, 940 pounds, then that's a bearish signal. It hurts our industry, guys. But if they want to stay ahead of the game, they've got to get some product moving, because after we have the holidays, there's going to be empty shelves to fill. They've got to come back and redo that. Where's all of our cattle been coming from? We've known that our imports were much bigger. Actually, our October live cattle, I'm not talking about live cattle like finished cattle, they're mostly all calves. And they might be older than that, but they're calf weights, especially those coming from Mexico. But live cattle imports from Mexico and Canada were up 76.4% in October compared to a year ago. Now, year to date, it's not nearly that bad. 24.2% year to date higher cattle imports from Mexico and Canada up to this point. But you got to consider 2022 was one of the lightest we'd seen in a long time. It was the lightest import year in almost 20 years. So you got to take that into consideration. Talk about what else is going on. Night Latch Group, that's Andy and Codell Cunningham there. They can help you with all of your agriculture risk needs. Lately I've been hearing a lot of people saying some positive things about the LGM policies, the gross margin policies. And those are the ones that I told you that Night Latch kind of specializes in. They've got that deal figured out where you can hedge your corn and your cattle at the same time, do it more affordably, and take pretty good care of yourself there. If you're interested in talking to them about that, go to nightlatch.net. Talk about your board. And your December live cattle gained good ground, up $1.52 at $166.97. February was up even more, up $2.17 at $167.90. Your back months on live cattle were all up pretty good. Like I said, it was very impressive. Your back months on live cattle up $1.30 to up $2.20. January feeder cattle were up $2.65 at $217.95. March up $2.52 at $218.60. Your back months were up as little as $1.20, and that was the farthest out traded month. All the rest of them were up over $2 and as much as $2.80 higher. December corn down 5 1/4 cents at $4.60.5 at the end of regular trading on Monday. January beans up 32 cents. Ooh, that stuff's still volatile at $13.36. December Kansas City hard red winter wheat down 28 3/4 cents at $6.27, and the December contract did go off the board for Kansas City hard red winter wheat. Your weighted average on last week's negotiated fed cattle trade out of your 5-area feeding region was 55,400 head. Slightly less than the 57,900 the previous week, slightly more than 52,700 the same week a year ago. Live sales of fat steers and heifers in your 5-area feeding region ranged from 166 to 172. There was only 543 at the 166 and only 62 head at the 172. Most of the cattle bring from 170 to 171. But that 166 to 172 would be $3 to $5 lower. Weighted average on live steers 169.94, down $4.51 on your weighted average compared to the previous week. Dress sales ranged from 265 to 272. It was only 37 head at 265, over 1,500 at 272. That price range was $3 to $5 lower. Your weighted average on dress steers last week in your 5 area was 269.63, down $4.96 compared to the previous week's dress steer weighted average. But your market as a whole, in the northern plains, the fat cattle sold $4 to $5 lower, from 169 to 171, $3 to $8 dressed. Lower dressed at 267 to 272. Southern Plains sold $3 to $4 lower at 171 for the most part. Nationwide, we sold 66,400 head negotiated, less than 71,500 the previous week, more than 59,200 same week a year ago. Of the 66,400, only 15% were sold for 15 to 30 day delivery, and that's been running pretty tight. I tell you what, the Packers are not really set up to take advantage of the gains they made last week. I think they're going to have to give up some more money this week if we don't have weak sisters coming in here, selling at 170. I think we could get 172, 3 or 4 for fat cattle this week. Your negotiated grid head counts came up to 46,800 last week. Forward contracts 9,600. Formula Sweetheart sales there, your AMAs 257,400 head. Of your negotiated, which is the only thing you can really tell anything by. Last week Iowa sold 17,900. Nebraska sold 22,700. Kansas sold 10,200. And Texas sold 4,700 is all. Box beef cutout values higher to start the week out, so that makes more sense. They were moving huge movements all last week at lower prices, which doesn't make any sense to me because it's not negotiated. Why would you sell more product at a lower price? Maybe just to make that little dab of spot trade look dismal all the time. But so far this week, just on Monday, choice cuts up 242 at 290.43, selects up 164 at 259.54. Your slaughter started out the week pretty aggressive at 126,000 estimated slaughter for Monday. Talk about your feeder cattle market, your real-time index on DVAuction. Late in the day on Monday, based on an 800-pound cash auction steer, 7-day moving average was 215.94. That's down 66 cents compared to the end of last week. Your latest CME cash feeder cattle index was 218.37. Talk about your big sales to start the week out. Oklahoma National Stockyards in Oklahoma City got 8,500 head. Feeder steers were $1 to $3 higher. Feeder heifers were fully steady. Calves were $3 to $6 lower, except for peewee calves weighing under 4.5, and they were $2 to $4 higher. Joplin Regional Stockyards had a big sale. I told you, ended up with about 8,700 head there in Carthage, Missouri at Joplin Regional Stockyards. And the feeder steers, those went over 6.5 for $2 to $4 lower. Your lighter weight steer calves were $4 to $6 higher. All weights of heifers were steady to $3 higher. Joplin was your NationalBeefWire stick-out sale of the day, just to really gauge the market. Just your commodity cattle market in the southern Midwest there, guys. How about 541 head of 4-weight steers, average 459 at 273.79. 881 head of 5-weight steer calves in Joplin, average 549 pounds at 249.16. There were 768 in the 6-weight category on steers. They averaged 654 at 222.44. 1,191 head of 7-weight steers. Joplin Regional Stockyards averaged 762. The weighted average price of $209.99. Now 1,311 head of 8-weight yearling steers in Joplin. They averaged 844 with a weighted average price of $209.43. 559 head of 9-weight steers averaged 923 at 202.24. Look at a few groups of heifers there. They had 533 head of 4-weight heifer calves in Joplin. They averaged 464 at 228.57. 851 head of 5-weight heifer calves, they averaged 540 at 210.77. And 741 head of 6-weight heifers averaged 637, the weighted average price of $203.62 at Joplin Regional Stockyards. And there's not many places where you get a good test of the market on so many weight groups there. They'd have some of the best cattle you can get anywhere, and they'd have some plainer cattle in there and a lot of them in between. So that is the market, people, what I just give you out of Joplin Regional Stockyards. Give you some individual quotes from around. How about Callaway Livestock Center, Kingdom City, Missouri, right there in the central part of Missouri. They sold 80 steers, weighed 654 at 257.75. Pretty impressive. But the most impressive quote that I saw anywhere on Monday, your Macrocin No BS top quote for the day, coming out of Sioux Falls Regional Livestock, DVAuction broadcaster there in Worthing, South Dakota. They sold 104 steer calves, weighed 501, bring $3.20 a pound. And that's your feeder flash for Tuesday.